And welcome back to What's Not Sports. I'm your host, Will O'Connor, episode 65 of the Pulse Check. We are covering round 2 of the Rugby League and a preview into round 3. A lot of upsets, a lot of surprising things happened in round 2. A shock to most, notable things to happen. We'll talk about it in a section, but AJ breaking the all-time try-scoring record in the NRL. Absolutely insane. But let's kick it off. Let's start off with what we had, who we had, and the tips. And look, tipping was actually... How many did I get wrong is the question. 1, 2, 3. I think I only got 3 wrong. So not a horrible strike rate. We're at above 50%. That's what we want. But let's get into it. First up, Thursday night, we had Broncos versus Parramatta. I had the Broncos tipped. Parramatta showed up and they didn't want to let go. It looked like Broncos had it sewn up early into the game, but no, Parramatta just had that dog in them and they beat the Broncos at Suncorp. That's now the Broncos' second loss in a row at Suncorp. What is going on with them? They are a premiership winning team and they are clearly not getting up to scratch. I don't understand what is going on. There needs to be some rapid changes happening defensive-wise for the Broncos to succeed this round. Parramatta, I feel like Mitch Moses and especially Jonah Pezza is starting to get comfortable, and him getting comfortable is something deadly. So watch out for him this round. But the next game we had the Raiders versus the Warriors over in New Zealand. Let's not talk about it. I obviously tipped the Raiders. They didn't win. But yeah, we move on. Tanner Boyd's kind of cooking. I just... Let's not talk about it. Roosters versus Bunnies game. Had the Bunnies tipped for this one. The Roosters got a win. The Roosters were very strong and they looked much better than what they did the week before against the Warriors. They looked a lot more cohesive. DCE scored a try. He's looking comfortable. He's starting to make very good moves. So maybe this is going to start paying off a bit more than what we expected for having DC at the Roosters. Definitely the game of the round. Really tight match. And yeah, it was just good footy. That rivalry is so insane between South and Roosters. South, they actually had a really good game. They are looking quite strong. Just a few more things to tweak offensively and defensively. Just tidy up on some errors. Like, there was a lot of errors by errors I mean drop balls, but the Bunnies, they definitely have the potential. Trell Mitt actually is looking very threatening. But let's quickly talk AJ. Alex Johnson just broke the try record, well, most tries scored by an NRL player. Insane. Greatest try scorer of all time. That makes him now absolutely insane. Sorry, quick drinks break. But obviously a great feat to have. Well deserving of it. Now, the rushing of the field was awesome. It was cinematic. Security guards were opening up fences, even though it was going to be fines and bans held out. But I think that was all just insurance. They had to say that. They wanted a spectacle, and they wanted people to flood the fields, and they did, and it was awesome. Tigers versus Cowboys. Tip the Tigers. They had that bye round 1. They are very well rested. They were very, very strong. They dominated the Cowboys physically. The Cowboys just looked soft. Adam Dewey's try just They had 2 or 3 defenders on him, and he was tackled, and they just let him flop over the try line. But I'm not trying to throw shade on Dewey. Dewey was absolutely incredible. Same with Luai. They are absolutely just leaps and bounds in their stride. They look insane. I'm looking forward to see what they can truly do for this season. They'll obviously be big. We're going to find out more as the season goes. It's only their first game of the season. So, yeah. Cowboys under pressure now. 2 losses. They got a bit hard done by in Vegas, but now they had a week off, I guess, because they didn't play, obviously, the rest of round 1 because they played earlier in Vegas. So they were well rested, I would assume. Probably not as well rested as the Tigers, but I almost feel like even though they lost a game and then had the rest of round 1 off and then came back, I think they should have played better because they'd actually played a proper game this season, not just trial games. So it was disappointing. Todd Payton obviously under pressure now. What's going to happen there? Who knows? Watch that space. Dragons versus Storm. Tip the Storm. It was close to start off with, but then Suafa'a Logo is just insane. I don't know, how to put it into words other than potentially better performance as a fullback. One of the best fullback performances, at least for the Storm. 80 points on fantasy. That should sum that up pretty well. Yeah, it's just insane. That's the big point. Sua, he is just loving that fullback role. He's loving being that guy, and he is proving that he can be that guy, and he is doing it well for the Storm. Dragons, bit of strife there. What's going to happen with the Dragons? Are they going to get the spoon? Maybe. Let's move on to the next game. Penrith versus Sharks. This is scary. The Panthers are looking very strong. I had them tipped. They're in fine form, and it's round 2. The fact that they haven't had that many changes, very minimal changes to their starting roster, has proven to be leaps and bounds for them. To punish the Broncos last week like they did, and then to punish the Sharkies in the way that they did, it makes me nervous to see that they are looking this good so early in the season, and they are already looking like they could be the premiership winning team. They're in that form already, and it's round 2, so that's really scary. Really, really scary. Manly versus Knights. I had the Knights tip. The Knights are looking strong, but now with the injuries of Dylan Brown and Kalen Ponga, Brown's looking to be out for a month. Kalen Ponga 6 to 8 weeks. Not good for him. There's a lot of concerns for the Knights. Is this their season done? Because they actually did play very well. And it's disappointing. I'd be very disappointed as a Knights fan to see Brown and Ponga go down like that. 2 very key players. And let's see what happens for the Knights if I think Sharp's back into the side maybe. And Hunt. So I've got a feeling they're the replacements. I think I read that somewhere. Can't remember. But it is concerning for the Knights and their fan base. Manly beaten 2 weeks in a row at Brookie Oval. What happens now? They're looking like wooden spoon contenders after getting pumped by the Knights. Dolphins versus Titans. I had the Dolphins tipped. Very close game. Titans were very close, but just weren't good enough. The Dolphins are starting to shape up now, but I think there's a lot of confidence. Given to the Titans, and I think they'll roll with it this weekend. Now, let's jump into round 3. Let's do our dive. And yeah, so who we've got Raiders versus Dogs Thursday night. Friday we got Roosters versus Penrith, Storm versus Broncos. Saturday is the Knights versus Warriors, Sharks versus Dolphins, and the Bunnies versus the Tigers. Sunday we close out with Parramatta versus St. George and the Cowboys versus Titans. Another Queensland derby. Wow. Raiders versus the Bulldogs. Obviously, I got the milk tipped. Big Papa is back. Their spiritual leader. Good to see that. They need a big performance, and I think having Papa on the field will be huge for them. Noah Martin will be looking for a huge game lining up against Jacob Preston. They'll be very well rested, the Doggies, after having, I guess, 2 weeks off, if you think about it. They had Vegas for the start of round one. Come back to Australia that week. Got that weekend off for the rest of round one. Round two happens. They've got a bye. I think they've got it the best. They're going to be very strong, but the big gap from 2 games for their first and second game it's probably more than half a month, to be honest. It's probably nearly 3 weeks that they haven't played a game of footy for. They'll be very well rested, but will they be game ready? I hope not. I truly think the Raiders will beat them at GIO. We won't have a repeat of last year. The Raiders will prove to be too strong. And, yeah, that's my thoughts. Up the milk. Roosters versus Panthers. I know I just said Penrith are looking... the Roosters are looking strong. DCE is trying to start to find some form. But I think the Panthers are going to win. They have punished 2 very good teams this early into the season. They're bloodthirsty. The Roosters are starting to link up. Like I said, DCE is really he's starting to fit in very well. This will really test him. This will truly test DCE. And if he has a killer performance, the Roosters could win here. But I'm picking Penrith. It's a safe option. They're just so good. Storm versus Broncos. I think the Broncos are going 0-3 for the first 3 rounds of the season. Don't hate to say it, but the Storm are just too good. They've probably got the best spine in the comp. Harry Grant, Cam Munster, Jerome Hughes, and Sewer. And the way that Sewer is playing, he's going to run circles around Reece Walsh. They're just a force that will absolutely slaughter them. I'd hate to say it. They have been ruthless so far, similar to Penrith. Well, maybe even more dominant than Penrith. They have been ruthless with the teams that they have versed and put on huge scores against them. So watch out for the Storm. The Storm will win there. Knights versus Warriors. No Brown or Ponga. The Warriors are looking very good. Tanner Boyd's looking really good. They're just all working really well. And I hate to say it, 2 wins in a row for the Warriors over in New Zealand. That brings confidence over to Australia. They beat the Roosters, a very strong team. They beat the Raiders, a very strong team who won minor premiership. Yes, they used to wet conditions, and it was very wet conditions when they played the game. Not so much of an excuse, but they're just looking too good at the moment. Too good not to tip them. So that's why I'm tipping the Warriors over the Knights, especially with Ponga and Brown out. Sharks versus Dolphins, the battle of the sea animals. Fins up, let's go. I want the Dolphins to win. I want a Queensland team to get up this week. I mean, we're going to get a Queensland team get up this week anyway, but I would like it to be the Dolphins at least. Put the Sharkies to shame at Shark Park. I want to see some good footy from them. Oh, just to go back, Storm versus Broncos. No Reynolds this weekend either. So Ben Hunt's stepping into that 7 role with Ezra Mam as his 6. Just wanted to point that out. I forgot that was in my notes. Sorry, let's go back to Sharks versus Dolphins game. Fins up, hunting for a big win. They beat the Titans. Too close for comfort, I would say, for them. Let's swim the Fins. Let's swim the Fins and get the win over the Sharks. Bunnies versus Tigers. I've got the Bunnies to beat the Tigers. I know I just was saying the Tigers are so good, but if the Bunnies eliminate the errors that they made last week against the that they had against the Roosters, they'll beat the Tigers. The Tigers, I will say, had a very easy win over the Cowboys. The Bunnies aren't the Cowboys. They are looking very threatening, very strong. So I'm going to pick the Bunnies to win it. It's going to be the close game, but the Bunnies will bounce them. Parramatta versus Dragons. It will be a confidence boost to the fact that they just beat the Broncos, the reigning premiers. As I said, the Dragons are nowhere. They're probably going to win the spoon. It's between them and Manly. Peasant's looking like a threat now. Moses always is a threat. Iongi, so good. Let's just go with Parramatta. Cowboys versus Titans. The way the Cowboys got smashed by the Tigers, I've got 100% faith that Josh Haney's Titans will win. It'll be a very interesting match, nonetheless. It'll be a good lineup, to be honest. It'll be a good, scrappy fight. It'll be close, but the Titans are going to win this Queensland Derby. Bang. That is the NRL episode done for this weekend. Very short episode, dropping tonight on Wednesday night. Dropping on Friday, Pulse Check episode. You get a bonus one for the Aussies. It's got all my tips. Who's going to win in the Opens, so the Open individuals and Open teams. I'm not doing podiums this year. I just want to keep it simple. Pick a winner. I'm still struggling a little bit with tips, but I'm going to pick a winner. And yeah, so tune into that episode. And if that's what's on sport, we out.